understand you're quite an accomplished pianist.
Watch your language. As a matter of fact, I do know 2 tunes in a cappella, or is it pizzicato?
Oh, really?
Yes, Chopsticks and the Wedding March. Which would you like to hear first?
Well, now, since it's a wedding we're working on, maybe,
A wise choice indeed.
Babs, could you hold off a minute, please? Listen, Doug wants to give us all a last-minute briefing.
Thanks, man. Listen, all of you realize why we're doing this, right? It's not because we have any vengeance against Nancy Lawson or her fiancé, Mr. Myers. It's because we love Ben and Lori. We want to see the truth come out, okay? Now, in order to do this, everyone has got to make Mr. Myers feel as though he's really welcomed, okay? As he's walking down the aisle, Ben here is going to thank him for marrying Nancy, even though she's dropped the malpractice suit against him.
Now, we're banking that once Dan hears this, he's going to bolt for the nearest exit.
And we're doing all of this because Nancy really did give us permission to prove that Dan Myers is lying. So we're just hoping to save her from a lot of heartache in the long run.
But Ben, suppose he decides to go ahead with the ceremony anyway.
Oh, sweetheart, don't worry about that. I'll give you 10 to 1 that he's going to break the record in retraction when he hears that Nancy's dropped that suit.
Doug, what is she doing here?
Look, just relax, Ben, will you? Come on, it'll be all right. It'll be okay.
Hey, Amber, hi. I wasn't sure I'd catch you in.
Well, you haven't really. I was just on my way out.
Oh, another night on the town, huh?
I don't think that's any of your business.
Hey, look, I'll leave if you want me to, but I thought you might like to give a statement about Stacy's confession.
What in the world is she doing here?
You keep your voice down.
All right, I'll try.
Look, remember when we discussed this plan the other day? We agreed that we needed a trump card.
You mean she knows what we're trying to pull off here?
Look, be reasonable, Ben. I'm not going to invite anybody to the wedding that's going to endanger our plan, okay?
Yeah, well, you got me fooled.
Look, Julia is mad at Dan for divorcing her for one, and then jipping her out of the malpractice suit money for another. She just wants to help us out.
How?
Do you really think that Dan is going to believe you if you're the only one that tells him that Nancy's dropped the malpractice suit?
I guess he might be a bit suspicious.
Well, put yourself in his shoes. Why should he believe you? He's already suspicious of you. I mean, Julia's presence here is going to cement this story.
Or spook him away.
I don't think so. Now, Dan knows that Julia is mad as a hornet. He also knows that Julia wants to get back at him. Now, I'm figuring if he sees her here, he's going to think that she's here to see him squirm a little bit.
I hope so.
Trust me on this, man. Come on. Let's get back and join our guests.
Do you mind if I use this, Amber?
No,
It's just that some folks get a little nervous when they see one.
I have nothing to hide.
Uh-huh. You know, you really have a lovely apartment here.
Thanks, not gonna miss it.
Are you moving?
I was thinking about it, yes. The trial's over with. There's no reason for me to hang around. And, this place holds a lot of bad memories for me.
Well, I'm sure that modeling associates will probably miss you.
Why don't we get to the point of all this?
You know, I was down at the jail to visit Stacy.
How is she doing?
Why don't you stop down there and find out?
I don't think that would be very therapeutic for her.
Yes. That's a very interesting phrase, you know, because Stacy anticipates a very thorough psychiatric examination herself.
I think she needs one.
Are you saying that you didn't have anything to do with her shooting her mother? I mean, thinking it was you.
I think it should have been pretty obvious to everyone that Stacy was about to go off the deep end.
As I recall, that's the same thing you said about your father just before Stacy confessed to the murder.
Okay, look, I admit that I was wrong about my father. But I will say this. Given the same circumstances, Dave could very well have killed my mother.
Even though he was drugged and he could hardly walk?
Let's just say, officially, that I am glad that Stacy is finally in a place where she can get the care that she needs. Now, as I said, I really do have another appointment.
I see. One other thing. Isn't this the place here where your mother's body was found?
Yes.
Boy, that's really strange, because the coroner reported that she died instantly, even though there was evidence of a struggle.
What are you getting at?
Was Stacy a crack shot?
I don't know. Ask Gil. It was his gun. Maybe he gave her target lessons.
Well, you see, whoever killed your mother shot her in the heart. I find it hard to figure that a person who was shot in the heart and supposedly died instantly could crawl around on the floor. You know what I mean?
Yeah, hard to figure.
Yeah, and another interesting fact is that there were fingerprints from both of Stacy's hands found on the panic bar. Now, if she shot your mother and she ran downstairs with a gun in her hand, I mean, more than likely she'd probably bump that panic bar with her body or something, or maybe use one hand. Another interesting thing is that there was only fingerprints on the panic bar and not the gun. I really can't understand that, Amber.
Are you saying that Stacy did not kill my mother?
I'm saying that she doesn't know how the gun got into the parking lot 10 feet away from your father's car.
I think it's time for you to leave, Mr. Redland.
Oh, there's a possibility that there could be a second person that killed your mother.
I don't want to hear any more of this. I asked you to leave.
Well, if you come up with anything that might back up my ideas, why don't you give me a call?
I said leave, Mr. Redland.
Okay. I am leaving, Amber, but I want to tell you one thing. If I can convince the police about my idea of a second murderer, I want you to know, more than likely, they'll be back down here with a search warrant. See you around, huh?
Look who I've brought to visit you, Mrs. Carpenter.
Hi, Mom.
Oh, Courtney, what a pleasant surprise. Is Daddy with you?
No, he's not. I came here from Kingsley as soon as I heard you were here. I can only stay about a day because Dad called ahead and said Vaughn was on his way. I don't want to see him.
Really? Why not?
Excuse me, is there anything else you'd care for, Mrs. Carpenter? I'll take your coat.
Oh, thank you.
This place is more like a hotel than a sanitarium. Remember that place in the Blue Ridge, or was it the Appalachians where we used to vacation?
Oh, it was the Adirondacks. Yes, they were beautiful mountains.
Yes. That lovely manor by the lake?
And do you remember how I used to gawk at the college guys who were working as busboys? Oh, I was 12, 14.
This place reminds me of that. The staff is so courteous, and the view from my window is so pleasant. We should go there again sometime.
Oh, Mom, that sounds like a great idea. How about spring break, if Well, if you can get away from here.
Well, check with my secretary. They've got my activities scheduled from morning till night. Oh, I'm afraid I'm getting more luxuries here than your father can handle, Courtney.
Oh, nonsense. He just wants to make sure that you're in good hands. Mom, why is your mirror covered?
Well, I'm not sure. I just know that the nurse asks that I keep it that way unless she's present.
Well, I wonder why. You know, I have a friend at school, Rhea Perlman. She told me that when there's a death in a Jewish family, the mourners cover all the mirrors in the house. They call it sitting Shiva.
Maybe that's why the nurse covered my mirror, to mourn my dead brain cells. Oh, now, you didn't come all the way from Kingsley to hear that. So now, tell me, why don't you want Vaughn to catch up with you here?
Well, the reason is Peter Davidson.
Huh? Well, I know I've been interred here because my memory's going, but I do recollect Vaughn Sumner played a very important role in your life.
Played, Mother. Past tense.
I'm surprised. Your father said that...
Father said for years that Vaughn and I were destined for each other, but he had us all believing that.
Including myself. Now, Vaughn is a very handsome and dignified young man.
And prideful and condescending and boring. Mom, the truth is, I've fallen in love with Peter Davidson. The reason I came, Mom, was to share my newfound love with you. I knew you'd understand.
But your father doesn't, does he?
No.
You understand why he doesn't, though, don't you?
Oh, Mom, I don't want to understand. I don't want to understand how the Sumners are keeping Carpenter Shipping afloat. I just want to understand who I am and where I'm going. Peter helps me to do that. For the first time, Mom, I can be myself with a guy and not feel like I'm some chattel to the family's lifestyle.
Oh, it's hard being a carpenter, isn't it?
Yes. It's like being in a compression chamber filled with social niceties and hypocrisies. Mom, I just want to get out. I want to take a long walk in the rain.
You go ahead and take your walk. And get good and wet while you're at it, too. Don't worry about the carpenter lifestyle. Your father's a survivor. He always has been, and he always will be. And if worse comes to worse, I'm sure I can leave these palatial surroundings and return home.
Oh, no. No, Dad would never stand for that.
Oh, since when do carpenter men rule carpenter women? Why, I've always been able to, Courtney? What were you saying?
Well, I was just saying that...
Hmm?
Mom, are you okay?
Huh?
Mother, should I call the nurse?
Where's Preston? Preston will take care of everything.
Mother? Oh, Mom, you're right. Carpenter men have never told carpenter women what to do. But you've just shown me exactly what I have to do.
Look, Julia, Ben's a little nervous that you're going to be the first thing that Dan sees when he comes in, okay? So I want you to do me a big favor. I want you to stay out of sight till I give you the signal, okay?
Certainly, just tuck me away like an old party pooper.
Right. Okay, listen, go upstairs, and when you hear the wedding march begin, I want you to come on down, okay?
Come on down, just like on the game shows.
Yeah, right. You got the idea.
I can't wait to see the prize that Dan gets.
Uh-huh.
Here we go. We're off to running again.
Well, hello. Hey, come in, Nancy.
Hi.
Oh, you look beautiful. Man, so good to see you.
Just gorgeous.
Thank you.
Take this.
So happy.
Oh, that's a gorgeous.
Dad got that for
Very
me.
much.
How do you like this dress? I had it made. Thank you.
Well,
It's beautiful.
I've heard about your family's hospitality for years, especially when Scott was alive. But this gesture of kindness is, well, it's more than I expected.
Yeah, he doesn't know the half of it.
My pleasure.
Thanks.
Well, I guess we realize that we can't have everything our own way, but we are all going to be a family now, right? So we just want to start out on the right foot.
Don't you think Dan is just a wonderful man for putting down his pride and coming here today?
Oh, here.
I know how hard it must have been for you to come.
Well, I'm sure it was hard for you too, Ben, but let's be grateful for your mother-in-law's peacemaking efforts, huh?
I am. Since we're going to be family.
Let's let bygones be bygones, huh, Dan?
Well, Doug, I'm sure you didn't come up with that sentiment on your own, did you?
Well, no. As a matter of fact, I didn't. But seeing as though my former client over here is setting such a gentleman's standard, I figured the least I can do is meet the challenge, right?
What, your former client? What do you...
Yeah, you know.
Oh, I'll get it.
Listen, congratulations, and thank you. Thank you very much.
Oh, isn't it beautiful? Dan, honey, come look at the cake.
Yeah, okay, sure, Nate.
You really like it?
Oh, it's gorgeous. Who did it?
Oh, that's very nice, yeah.
Nancy, I've got a corsage for you in the kitchen. Come on, I want to show you. Excuse us, Dan.
Sure.
Hey, here he is, folks, the man of the hour. Your Honor, let me have your coat.
Well, I guess we're all ready to begin now, huh?
Yeah, so far, so good. Where's Peter?
He had another appointment.
Where?
Don't ask.
Well, I'm really not quite sure that...
Lucas? Oh.
I tried to tell him I wasn't sure that he was welcome.
He already knows that.
I looked for Courtney over at the dorm, didn't find her. I thought she might be here.
Mrs. Lucas, I suddenly feel the need of a nice, strong, hot cup of tea.
Yes, sir.
Courtney isn't here.
Well, thank you.
Yep, hold on. And she's not over at the dorm either, if that's where you were thinking of going. In fact, she's not in Kingsley.
What?
She's left town.
I don't believe you.
I don't care whether you do or not. You do know about her mother.
Oh, yeah, a little. You know, she has Alzheimer's disease.
Then it should come as no shock to you that she has recently been admitted to a sanitarium. Of course, Courtney is very sorry that she didn't have time to ask your permission first before she left.
So that's why her father came down here.
That's right.
And that's why she hasn't returned my call.
What?
Nothing.
So, with her father's visit and this recent development in her mother's condition, her plans have been altered drastically. And they've also been altered drastically where you're concerned, too.
It's beautiful.
Oh, I'm glad you like it.
You know, Terry, Ione wasn't going to come because she couldn't agree with what I was doing. I thought for sure you would have felt the same way.
Well, I did at first. But after all, we're family, and that does make a difference. Nancy.
You know, Terry, for the first time in my life, I'm marrying someone not for what he has or what he can give me, but someone who just loves me just for what I am and appreciates me.
Come on, let's go.
As soon as Courtney gets back, she will wish to amend her rather impetuous farewell to Vaughn. As a matter of fact, I'd go one step further and say that their long-standing engagement will result in a marriage almost as soon as she returns.
Yeah? Well, I find that hard to believe since she asked me to tell Vaughn Sumner that this presupposed engagement's off.
Really? Well, when she tells you what I just said to you, maybe you'll believe me then.
Yeah, she says it. I might believe it.
Yeah, hold on right there. Do you actually want her to disown her own family?
I never said that.
Or ignore the desperate need of her mother? You know, on second thought, you probably don't even care.
because you belong to that family that I consider a bunch of religious hypocrites.
I'm gonna forget you said that.
Don't. And don't try to change Courtney's mind when she says goodbye to you.
Oh, Nancy, you're just shining.
Oh, Nancy, you look beautiful.
Oh, now, Miss, I really would like to show you something about the service.
You know, I was really wrong about you, Dan. I thought you were marrying Nancy for the money, but now I realize you're marrying her because you love her. I mean, since you're going through with it.
What are you talking about? I don't understand.
Oh, sure you do. I mean, Nancy dropping the lawsuit against me and all.
Oh, not now.
What? Nancy did what?
Ben, not now.
Wait, what do you mean not now?
Wait, I'm
what?
so-
Now, come on.
I'm sorry, Doug, you're right. This is not the right time. Let's just enjoy the
that's
service.
right. Just a second. Did Nancy drop the lawsuit or what?
Oh, come on, Dan, cut the kidding. I mean, you know she did. She must have told you. I mean, I've got the signed affidavit right here stating that she's dropping the malpractice suit against Ben.
Oh, you guys both have a real bad sense of humor.
Shh. Just enjoy the service. I think that just the piece is ready for you, Dan.
Dan, you are joining one wonderful family. You know, they were even going to pay for her motel and her medical bills, but of course, now that you're marrying her, they won't have to. Like, it's great.
Can't thank you enough.
You know, even Julia didn't think that you'd go ahead with the wedding. I mean, after she canceled the malpractice suit. So she came to see for herself.
Hi, Danny boy.